I'm ready.
Alright. Hey everybody, what's up? As you can see, tonight I'm here with my very special friend, AndyPliskin. As you guys, if you've been following my channel, you know Andy and I go way back. And Andy and I, one of the things we have in common was Lost. Andy actually got me, back on track with Season 3, and it's one of many things we have in common. Andy stood in for me last season during a little issue I had with YouTube for my Lost recaps. And why don't you talk about what we want to do today, Andy, tonight?
Okay, basically what we want to do is we'd like to just kind of talk about Lost in preparation for Season 5. We're going to talk about the, Season 4, how this series has shaped and evolved since Season 1, and different characters, just overall just get back into the show so that we're all ready to go Wednesday night when it starts back up again on ABC.
Yeah, we're really excited. Andy and I meant to do a collaboration like this. We were going to do one a week every night this summer, and of course, like all video plans, it never happened. So this is just our talk, Lost talk, and it'll be about a review of Season 4 and a preview, our thoughts anyway, of Season 5. For any of our subscribers, anybody watching this who's not into Lost, kind of same rules apply as my Lost videos from last year. Just stop by, say hello, help get the comments up on this, because I've been getting a lot of Lost people who watch this and really been helping out the Lost part of my videos. Starting next week, I will be doing my normal videos, and I might have Andy help me, but I'll probably go back to normal. So for now, we just wanted to really talk about Lost, so let's get to it.
Sounds good.
Oh, one other programming note. This is a hack job like I've never seen. I'm recording an iMovie, and I'm also recording a Skype conversation with Andy. So there's some real hackery going on here. So if you see some blips or pauses or hums or buzzes or whatever, that's as good as this is going to get, considering that we are, what did we figure, about 14 hours away or something like that, driving distance?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, so that's what's going on here. I can see Andy, but he can't see me because I'm recording my side of this into whatever. All right.
Right.
We've gone on long enough. Season 4 recap. Andy, why don't you tell me? Just let's start off. Say what are some of your thoughts about Season 4?
Season 4 was crazy. It seems like each season has its own little theme to it, and 4 was mostly tanker people and Oceanic 6 stuff. I love the way the season started out with that the car chase with Hurley. I thought that was a great opening to the season.
It was nothing I expected. I thought, looking back at Season 1, started with Jack's eye. Season 2 started with Desmond in the hatch, I believe. And Season 3 started with Juliet doing the Book of the Month Club with the others. So I thought it was going to be a little bit more just blatant. And all of a sudden here it was Hurley in the future, one of many. I thought Season 3 really propelled things nicely. You could tell when ABC decided, or when the producers decided how they were going to end it and how long the show had. Didn't it seem like somewhere along the last 2 or 3 episodes of Season 3 they just cranked up the pace, and it's just been non-stop since.
Yeah, all of a sudden they have this deadline, and now they're moving with a purpose. They're telling stories. There's less of the filler episodes, less of the fluff stories. They're on a mission to get to this end point by 2010. So
yeah,
that's exciting.
There's Season 5 and then Season 6, and then it's done. So there's 32 more episodes to go, and we'll find out everything. Yeah, Season 4 was definitely the freighter folk. Who was your favorite of the new cast? Or what did you think of the new cast in general when they first showed up?
I didn't know what to expect. They're all so different. They're all extremely different characters. I really liked Faraday. I felt like he had this crisis of conscience. He wants to be the good guy, but he also is on a mission to do things that that don't line up with the ideologies of being a good guy.
But he's also very flawed, and we never learn completely what kind of mental problems he has. Whether they're from the sickness, from not having a constant, something. He's a flawed character. He's got some type of problem, actually.
Oh yeah, and he has like a ton of information about the island. The fact that he even knew about the whole constant situation means that he knows a lot more about the island and time travel and all that stuff. He knows so much more than he's letting on. So I'm
Well,
really curious to see what he knows.
they all know more.
Yeah.
Charlotte apparently knows more. Apparently, Charlotte was maybe born on the island or something, which makes me wonder if she's not tied to Ben in some other way, like Ben's lost love or something. That was a blonde girl, though, so I don't know, but hair color can be changed. I
Right.
don't think she was British either. But I remember, wasn't it the second episode when they introduced all these people, and the first thing you saw was Frank? How do you say his last name? Lapidus.
Yeah, Lapidus.
And you see all these 100 or however many corpses at the bottom of the ocean, and I thought, oh, jeez, this makes absolutely no sense, and it was really confusing, and it eventually unfolded that it was all a plot by Charles Widmore, but even partially through the season, they let you think that maybe Ben had something to do with this, right? Or do we not fully know if that was Widmore or not who planted that?
It seems more likely that it's Whitmore. He has more to gain by making sure that the oceanic, or to making sure that the island, that nobody goes looking for the island and looking for these people anywhere near the island. I mean, they both want to protect it, but it seems like Whitmore would have the resources and maybe a stronger motive to do something of that magnitude, to put 300 and some bodies in an airplane. So where did those people come from?
Yeah, and Widmore's the one who sent the freighter basically to kill everybody on the island because he wants to keep that secret of that island to himself.
Right.
And a few mysteries of Charles Widmore came up over the year. There was that one little clue when you saw him at that auction, looking to buy what the that journal from that pirate ship, basically, the Black Rock. Is that what that's called?
Yeah. Exactly.
So who knows where that's all tied to? And it's interesting that they, with Penny being his daughter, and then Widmore killing Ben's daughter, they really set that up. And I wouldn't doubt if later on in the series it's going to be about Widmore versus Ben. You know, maybe season 6 will be like this much bigger picture. I thought, let's see, I took some notes here. Okay, the other thing, the freighter. It definitely has to be Widmore because he sent like Kimi and all those military people on the island to kill them. I'm confused though why Charlotte, Miles, and Faraday were on that ship with him, and Naomi.
Yeah, what was the point of them? And they were sent by Abaddon, so you're wondering what his role in all this is too.
Yeah, so it's all tied together. Now, we talked about this in email today. You had some dislikes about some of the characters in season 4.
I did. I did not like Miles because it just. I mean, like his personality is fun. He's sarcastic. He's snarky. He gets in everybody's face. He's the. I don't know. He's one of the more fun characters dialogue-wise. But the whole Ghostbuster thing, I just. It seems like a little bit over the top to me.
But
I don't know.
think about this once. Think of. Is it? I mean, you have Christian or not Christian Shepherd,
Yeah.
who's a ghost or something. You have Claire, who's we may or may not. We all think Claire is dead.
Dead-ish.
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 Yeah, deadish. And there's other things on that island. You know, people are coming back to life, and so is it that far stretched to have a Ghostbuster actually on there? That may come to play farther down the road.
That's true.
So, I see what you mean. It's a bit of a stretch when they introduced him. I think I like him because it's almost like Sawyer lost a bit of his snideness, a bit of his sarcasm, as Sawyer's becoming kind of... He's going to be the new leader on the island other than Locke, I think. I think he's going to replace Jack. And as much as I love seeing Sawyer's character develop, now we're losing that sarcasm. So that's what I liked about Miles. And I think
He's not. Like Sawyer's not the guy he was in season 2, where Sawyer stole all the guns and said, "I'm the new sheriff in town." He's the kinder, gentler Sawyer.
And
so it's fun to see.
Yeah, and it's interesting that for as good as Sawyer's becoming, Jack almost turned the other way around. I mean, he was going to shoot Locke. You know, Jack almost and Sawyer almost switched places, like good guy, bad guy thing. But Do you think you'll come around with Miles?
I haven't seen a whole lot of him. Like I feel like the four from the freighter, um, uh, Charlotte, Lapidus, Miles, and Daniel Faraday. I feel like their characters are kind of underdeveloped because so much else was going on. I'm going to reserve judgment until we see more of them in season 5.
Well, I think it's interesting that on that movie poster that I emailed a bunch of people, or the poster for season 5, they have the Oceanic 6 and Desmond on one side, and then they have Sawyer, um, Juliet, and the other freighter people, except for Lapidus on there. So I think they're going to be some of the people that we see a lot of, because who else is left on the island? Other than, and you're not alone in disliking him, Rose is not a fan of Miles, who steals the peanuts.
And Rose has good judgment. I trust her. So.
Yeah, I agree. Rose and Bernard are actually two of my favorite characters.
Have you, real quick sidebar? Have you seen the picture that ABC took for season 5, and it was like in a living room with like the jungle stuff going on? Have you seen that picture?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay, if you look at that picture, notice Faraday. If you look at his right ankle, his leg is completely like invisible. You see his pants and his shoe, but there's nothing in between them.
No, jeez. I hope
And
that
we don't know
doesn't
whether
turn into a Back to the Future type of thing.
I hope not.
Remember, they said they weren't going to do that, and yet there's enough references.
Yeah.
Now, the only person I didn't like from that group, I loved Lapidus. I loved... he was just this hairy drunk, and when my favorite all-time scene of this season so far, I think, was when Sawyer called him Kenny Rogers. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that was spot.
That was perfect. But I didn't like Charlotte at all. She just seemed like this uppity, uptight, ugh. But she redeemed herself in that last episode in the season finale when you found out she has a greater story. And I love that her name is Charlotte Staples Lewis, or C.S. Lewis, the writer of Narnia. And Narnia, every time they go back to Narnia, the people in those books, Narnia is a different time. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something we have to watch, is really be aware of these names of people. So, all right. That's enough on season 4. I think we actually just talked about the freighter folk. The Oceanic 6. Jeez.
Yeah.
The big secret was it Aaron or wasn't it Aaron? And obviously it was. He was one of the 6. Claire may or may not be dead. We saw Christian Shepherd. I absolutely loved the mystery of who the Oceanic 6 were. And I loved that reveal when Aaron was Kate's son, and I thought that was absolutely amazing. I wonder how that will work upon future viewings, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember being really surprised when it happened. Like, I was watching it, I did not see that coming.
No, me neither.
I couldn't figure out the kid thing, and I don't know.
And I was really impressed how they brought Michael back, how we supposedly lost Jin, how they really fleshed out the Jin and Sun characters again, really made their love stronger.
Yeah.
It seems like every season we're losing one or two of the main people. We look at season 1, and who don't we have now? We don't have Charlie, Shannon, Boone. Then we lost Echo.
Anna Lucia.
Yeah, Anna Lucia.
Well, Libby.
Just to name a few. Yeah, I know we're probably missing some that are dead.
Was that who were those two characters?
Paulo and
Paulo and Nikki.
I like that. Paulo and Nikki's story. Actually, that was one of my favorite episodes.
That was a good one.
3. But everything they did with the Oceanic 6, it was really depressing actually for me to see these characters that I've grown to love and really start to see them. Kate became, redeemed on the island. Hurley was becoming sane. Jack, Jack was kind of always flawed. But to see them off the island, even Saeed, you see them off the island, they became bad reflections of their former selves. They even became worse.
It's almost like the redemption didn't take because they weren't supposed to leave. They weren't done being redeemed as of yet. and they
Yeah.
left too early, and it didn't take, and it made things crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think especially I feel the most bothered by Jack's kind of fall from grace and by Hurley's. I think Hurley is one of those left field characters I never thought I would grow attached to, and now he's definitely one of my favorites. He doesn't seem like
And it,
the type of hero that you would see on a TV show. That's what I like about
Mhm.
him.
yeah.
That's all I was going to say.
Oh, I was going to say that as far as characters who I'm most, I guess, disappointed in once they left the island, it would be Saeed. I mean, just to see the remorse and what he was going through after the first Gulf War, when he said, I'll never be a torturer again. I'll never do the things that you told me to do. It seemed like he was really done with war and violence, and he was really set on like inner peace. And as soon as he left the island, and his wife passed away, which admittedly was traumatic. He went right back to his old habits of pretty much being a mercenary.
Yeah, he was actually pretty much that way on the island the entire time too. The classic, what do you call it, the scissors move,
Scissor kick?
the scissor where he broke the guy's neck with his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty cool. And I'm sorry, but when he, I thought, killed Kimi at first, that was pretty cool. But I tell you again, talk about being blown away. His flash forward um, when he's crying and all of a sudden you realize it's Ben fixing him up and that he's an assassin for Ben. I thought
Yeah.
that was absolutely beautiful. Um, Another thing I wanted to mention to you, I just got done watching the season 4 DVDs, kind of the extras. They had a thing on there. They took all the flash forwards and put them in chronological order from the time they got off the island to the most current. And it was really interesting because the first flash forward after the '06 is off the island with the press conference is when Ben shows up in, was it Saudi Arabia? No, Tunisia,
Tunisia.
in the winter coat, which is I think where he jumped from the what do we call it, with your Superman poster right above you,
The Fortress of
the
Solitude thing?
Fortress of Solitude, the ice thing, yeah. Um, and it was interesting to see how it unfolded in that order, and you find out that everything that happened at the very end of season 3, the whole "we have to go back, Kate, we have to go back," it's like a couple days away from this year's finale. Jack has the full beard, he's hopped up on crazy pills, um,
Yeah.
and then he shows up again at the funeral. That all takes place around the time of Jeremy Bentham's funeral. Now there's a lot of mystery surrounding that yet, and I just saw a preview today. Maybe we can segue into season 5 here.
Okay.
I saw a preview today of the Oceanic 6 on the rescue boat, talking about things, and Hurley was saying, we don't have to lie, da 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 da. So I don't think season 5 is necessarily all going to take place after we saw Locke in the coffin. I think
Yeah.
that may be really far into the future. That might kind of be like the end of season 5 or something, and we may have to see what it takes to get up to that point.
I've been wondering at what point in season 5 would they return to the island? Because it seems inevitable that they are going to go back. It makes me wonder at what point do you see them arrive, and how are they going to get there?
Right. Well, and I just wonder though, or will they not get back until season 6? I mean, what happens on the island? When and where is the island? Because
Right.
the storyline that we see right now of Jack with the beard roughly takes place 3 or 4 years after they crashed. Because if anything, you can gauge it by Aaron's age. And they crashed. This is brilliant how they did it on the TV show, especially for Walt. They crashed in 2004 on September 22nd when the show aired.
Yeah.
And now the latest flash forward takes place in 2008. So 4 years later, which explains why suddenly you have grown-up Walt, even though the actor who played Walt grew in 4 years. They were only on that island for 108 days. So there's got to be stuff, though. Does Locke, is he some kind of leader on the island? What happens there? Then it sounds like Locke obviously comes back to at least visit Jack, if not a couple, try to visit Kate, maybe, I think.
Maybe.
And so that all has to happen, and then he supposedly killed himself, which I doubt.
Yeah.
So that all has to take place too. So I could see all of season 5 leading up to that finale again, kind of like season 3 led up to it, and then how season 4, kind of the season finale of season 4, started with essentially the season finale of 3. And I thought that was really brilliant the way they did it.
Oh yeah.
So I think, what are some of your other thoughts about season 5?
Well, I guess one of the biggest questions about season 5 is where and or when is the island? The idea that it moved is tough, and I mean that it moved, that the geography of the island actually changed in this current timeline.
Well, a lot of people are thinking that because that happened is why we had that big foot with the 4 toes. Do you remember in season 1 or 2?
Oh,
What was it called?
yeah.
There's like a big foot of a statue, like huge, and
Oh, yeah.
like people are like, where'd that come from? But also that pirate ship was like in the middle of the jungle,
Right.
and even the polar bears. If that island is getting physically displaced, does it just kind of show up underneath those things, or something weird like that?
Could be.
I don't know.
See, my theory was that, you know how when they wanted to get out of the island onto the freighter, they had to take whatever that heading was. My thought was that all Ben did was change some sort of property of the island that made that heading different.
Right.
That was my original thought. But in one of the commercials, they show Locke on the island, and they show Echo's brother's plane
Yes.
coming in,
Yes.
and it actually drops one of the statues, which makes me think that the island's moved in time to the point where Yemi's plane is just now crashing on it.
So maybe they moved back in time.
Right. Which would make sense as to why a smuggling plane from that part of the world would end up in the South Pacific.
So that's, I guess what that brings up to me then is, season 1 and 2 and all of 3, the convention was having the flash forwards, or the flashbacks.
Right.
Season 4 became a mixture of flashbacks and flash forwards. And there was actually that episode of with Sun and Jin where it was a combination. That was a dirty trick by them. The Sun story was a flash forward and the Jin story was a flashback.
Yeah, that was cheap.
It was cool though. It was really interesting how they did that. So it makes me wonder, what's the convention of this going to be for season 5? There has to be a storytelling convention. But then that leads me to think, were these flashbacks actual just conventional storytelling flashbacks, or was it something with their consciousness? How do you say it? Their psyches, whatever, their awareness, jumping back or forward, kind of like Desmond did. That's a stretch, but it kind of makes sense if part of the overall story arc is them being lost in space and time. I don't know. And by the way, season 4, I have to say, the episode called "The Constant" with Desmond was probably my favorite episode. And Desmond is like this, in my mind, this secondary B character, and just him and Penny, their love story, to see that kind of resolved in the season finale this year, that they found each other so quickly, I didn't expect that at all.
No. And to think that that's such that characters in the flashback of a secondary character, Penny and Charles Whitmore, the fact that they would play such a huge role, I never saw that coming.
Well, we didn't see any of that. I mean, think about season 1. Well, we didn't talk about this. Season 1 was all about the island. Originally, it just looked like these castaways on an island, really.
Yeah.
Except we had the introduction of the smoke monster, and then towards the end, the others. Season 2 was all about the hatch, which I've seen ads. It looks like they go back into the hatch. But, okay, to add to your theory, how can they go back? The hatch exploded, right?
Right.
So, were they in that hatch, or is it a different station? It could be a different Dharma station. There's like 100 of those. But
Well, also, I don't know if this helps or not, and it's probably a little off topic, but I played through the Lost video game and I finally finished it.
Okay.
Basically, it's a character who betrayed his girlfriend, and in that act, his girlfriend got killed. So Ben gives him a boat and gives him safe passage off the island. He does not get home. What happens is he wakes up on the island. It's like the whole thing reset back to the crash again, but this time his girlfriend's alive, and that's how it ends.
Okay, that's interesting because now I'm doing a little flash forward here on my notes. My prediction, and I want this on video, of the
Okay.
series ending will be that it ends with Jack's eyeball, just like the series started, and he's
Okay.
stuck on the island and he's stuck in the jungle again, and it's going to be a big redo. And I think they won't get back to the island until the very last episode, and you're going to see them crash, and they're going to be stuck in this infinite loop. That's my prediction. As crazy as that sounds, but with what you're saying, it's almost like they get a second chance.
Right.
In a way that's kind of cheesy, but who knows? That's my prediction. Right?
I mean,
wrong,
I'd
or
love a
different.
little bit more resolution than that, but that's entirely likely.
Because of all the bookends, and you had the first half of the series was flashbacks, the second half were flash forwards. It seems like there's a nice dichotomy and a nice balance that the series has been doing.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Or
to see.
do you keep looping through the timeline on the island? Like, do you wake, like, you suggested that the series might end with Jack waking up and showing his eye. Do you keep going through that process of it looping until you've reached a deep enough point of redemption for the island to say, okay, cool, and kill you?
Because then the island doesn't have use for you. Kind of like Shannon and Boone.
Right. Oh,
They had a
it's like,
purpose at the time,
right.
which is interesting because the producers kept talking that Rousseau and like the Foot, that there'd be backstories with Rousseau, and also they quickly killed her off, and that was such an
Yeah.
interesting thing because she was such a big mystery on the show.
Right.
So I wonder if
Well,
when they go back, will there be a Rousseau story? Will it be a
the producers
flashback?
are saying that there will be a Russo flashback episode this year.
And I also heard that Anna Lucia will be in an episode this year.
Yeah.
Again, are these flashbacks, or what kind of flashback?
Right.
Their consciousness. Who knows? So I think maybe these next couple seasons are also going to be more and more about time travel, because they just touched on it a little bit this season with the thing that was what was it when Daniel shot like that rocket from the boat or whatever, and it took whatever, and then when that guy, the doc, got killed on the boat and he didn't drift up on shore, unless they're just in different time zones. Could that be? Because like you're an hour ahead of me, so
Right.
maybe.
But those lines are man-made.
Oh. So that'll be interesting to see.
Well, they were hinting at time travel as well in season 3. When Kate and Sawyer went to go rescue Carl from that mind control room, the guy out front was reading A Wrinkle in Time,
That's right.
and there were little hints at that at season 3, like, okay, we're really doing the time travel thing. So
And then the little thing that was released at Comic-Con for season 4 was the which Dharma station was that? The Orchid? No, was it the Orchid?
yeah, it was the orc.
With the rabbits and the two, which that was the place where Ben blew up to get to the Fortress of Solitude, but they had the two bunnies coexisting, and then they were the same bunny existing in the same
Yeah.
moment of time. So yeah, there's a lot going on. So what are your predictions for the series ending and season 6? I guess the future. Any idea?
That deep in the future. With Lost, you can't tell from episode to episode with any sort of certainty. But if I had to guess, I would say that. Oh crud! I would have to say that season 6, I think, is going to be a little bit more clear. I think it's going to be more of a slightly more straightforward showdown between Ben and Charles. But you're going to have the people, the Oceanic passengers, all of them, not just the Oceanic 6, caught in the middle of this. And it seems like it hopefully would be a little bit more of a straightforward tying up, as opposed to just heaping more and more on into the last minute.
Well, that's the thing is, if season 5, my only beef might be is if it's so displaced in time and all this stuff is going all over the place, that's going to get really confusing.
Right.
But they've been really smart with their, previously on Lost, with their enhanced episodes, with a lot of stuff, kind of explaining to the viewer, if you take a little time to actually watch it and understand it. They've been doing well keeping this somewhat as unconfusing, I think, as it possibly can. But there's so much stuff, like the whole Dharma thing. What does that exactly have to do with any, this, oh, geez, we didn't even talk about, what's his name, the guy with the guy liner, Richard.
Richard, yeah.
Who was around, who existed when Jack was a little, or when John Locke was a little boy. All right.
And it's seeming far more likely that he's not like some ageless guy. It seems like he's found a way to really manipulate the whole time space rip thing and move effortlessly between time periods.
Because wasn't Abaddon in a flashback too?
Yeah, he was one of the nurses who took care of Locke after he fell out the window.
Yeah.
Or was
so there's definitely, I think, more time travel going on than we think, and the idea that there's all these flashbacks on the show might have to do with something. I don't know. One other thing that I know we didn't talk about a lot, and people really haven't mentioned a lot. I was listening to some of the commentaries. It'd be interesting to go back to season 1 and see the whole mystery around Erin, around Claire, because when Claire, her flashbacks were, she went to the psychic, who said, "Do not let anybody take care of your child." And now,
you have to raise this child.
Now here we are with Kate claiming to be the mom, and Claire is kind of haunting Kate or whatever. So that it seems like everything's pointing to go back to the island, except for the Claire Erin story, which is really interesting.
Right.
And I don't know how to wrap my mind around that, because it's been such a minor story that they haven't revisited. Even Claire being Jack's sister, they finally touched on for the first time in a season and a half. The third to last episode.
Yeah. Yeah, the part 1 of the 3-hour finale.
Yeah. So I think we'll see more of that. Or is that just part of the plot device they had to give to make Jack feel guilty about leaving Claire behind? I don't know. So.
No, I really hope they do more with that. I do.
So do I. Otherwise it seemed a little... But I think there's something to be said with that psychic. There has to be.
Right.
So, all right, we've gone on for almost 40 minutes here. I think there's going to be 1 or 2 things I edit, but otherwise I'm going to keep going with this. So, is there anything you want to add to this before we wrap up?
The thing I'm looking forward to most at this premiere is the first 2 or 3 minutes of the season premiere. Just how they start each season, they tend to be really brilliant with it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one starts, because I could probably imagine 50 different things, and it won't be anything I expect. It'll be infinitely better.
I know. And it's and every season premiere sets up the season really well for kind of the shape of things to come.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I want to add. I want to mention that next week, Wednesday, the 21st, at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, is a 1-hour recap. And then from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock Central Standard Time is the 2-hour season premiere. Now, immediately following that, I don't know if it's going to happen this week or not, but I want to do a blogTV show, and Andy, if you're around, maybe you can be the co-host, and it'll be purely about Lost. So I will make a video about that if it's going to happen. I'm going to be out of town Thursday and Friday, so I don't know if that'll happen Wednesday night. And then on sometime Friday or Saturday, I will do my regular Lost videos like I've been doing in the past. So those are just some programming notes. Hopefully Andy can be a special guest, or we can do more of this. I really love this format. This was great.
Yeah, this seems really cool.
Yeah, I wish you could see me like I can see you, but you'll see it together. But hey, that's what we got to do until you get a Mac and get iChat. Then it's a lot easier for me to record this.
Right, I'm working on an HP right now, and it's terrible. So
Yeah, that humbles
I'm
you.
upgrading. Yeah.
Cool. So everybody, check out my main man Andy Pliskin here. Sub to him. He'll probably have some Lost talk on his channel, and
Oh yes.
stay tuned every Friday or Saturday where I'll be talking about episodes of Lost. And please comment on this video, create a dialogue with each other. I found a lot of new subscribers that are all just interested in Lost, and it's great to get this community of people together who love this amazing show. So help get this in the. I usually don't pimp out my stuff like this, but help get this in the ratings and the comments and all that stuff, most viewed, so more people find us.
And this might be the first real-time collab ever on YouTube. So that's exciting stuff.
I've seen it on Vloggerheads.
On YouTube.
Yes. So this is pretty cool. Hey, this is like our Toronto 888 actual collab.
This is.
But this is as good as it can get until we hopefully see each other this spring. So,
Absolutely.
anything you want to add before I wrap it up? Cue the music.
Nope. That's pretty much it.
All right, that's all for now. I will talk to everybody real soon. Happy New Year! This is my first video since the New Year's because I don't make videos anymore. What's up with that?
Yeah. I was going to ask you that, actually.
I'll be making. I just needed to get my button gear. This is what's going to do it. So that's all for now. Thanks, whoever makes it through the almost full 45 minutes. Thank you. But you know what? This is what we want to do here. This is about Lost. And, yeah, that's all for now. Talk to you later. Bye.